I cannot believe that my Swedish students did this. Now, before I get into exactly what it is that they did, I just want to say that I am going to bring back Swedish Sundays. I'm in year 2 now in Sweden. We'll call it season 2 of Swedish Sundays. So if you guys have topics about Sweden that you want me to cover, leave them in the comments down below, and I promise you that I will come out with a Sweden-related video every Sunday because I know that's what you guys love to hear about. With that being said, let's jump right into this. This is just absolutely mind-blowing to me. In American schools, we don't do this at all, but we actually went on camping trips as part of like the school curriculum, because in PE here in Sweden, they have the requirement of friluftsliv, so like open air activities. So like we take the kids out into the woods and they do their orienteering and stuff, which I already made a video about, and then the kids actually go find their campsite, they make food, they do all these things on their own. They get the chance to spend time out in nature, appreciate nature, which is a big part of the culture here in Sweden. I think that's really, really cool. But the thing that surprised me most was how far the students walked over the course of the 2 days. I mean, on the first day, we walked 7 kilometers to find the campsite where we're going to be spending the night. And then after that, we went kayaking for 2 to 3 hours. So a lot of activity on that first day. And then on the way home, the next day, we actually would take a different route on the way back and do 13 kilometers of walking on day 2. And so when you combine it all together, the students did about 20 kilometers of walking over 2 days, plus other activities as well. And this is just crazy to me because I think in Europe people do a lot more walking than they do in America. Like in America, I know people that will take their car to get their mail at their mailbox that's only like 100 to 200 meters away. And so when I think of like trying to do this type and this much walking with kids in America, that'd be really, really tough. I mean, this isn't just normal walking either. I mean, we have huge backpacks with sleeping bags, camping gear, food, all this stuff. And like on that second day, like even for me, it was kind of tough, to be honest. Like those last few kilometers, I'm like, oh man, I ran out of snacks the first time I went on this trip, and that was just not fun when you run out of snacks and you still got like 3 or 4 kilometers to go. I think that's the key for me, bringing lots of food. But honestly, I was just super impressed with what the students were able to handle, and pretty much all of the students in the 3 classes that I went with were able to handle all this. And I think it would be really, really tough to see American students, an entire class of American students doing this. Of course, we've got super athletic and active kids in America as well, but when you look across the board that every single kid in the class was able to do this, that is really, really cool. And it's cool that they got the chance to be out in nature and so physically active. The other thing that kind of shocked me about this was how much freedom that the kids actually get in Sweden. Like on the way to the campground on the first day, the students, we didn't go all in one group with everybody. The students would actually go in like groups of 2 or 3 and be given a map and a compass and actually have to find this campground on their own, which is 7 kilometers away. So for example, some students would take a wrong way and it might take them even longer, like 3-4 hours to find the campground when everybody else found it in like 2 or 3. So it's crazy that the students in Sweden have more freedom to actually try some things on their own and have responsibility to handle themselves on their own. And this is much different in American culture because, like, for example, one thing that comes to mind is like when you take the school bus in the morning in America, all of the kids usually will ride the school bus that is only for kids. And here in Sweden, you'll see like little kids riding the public transportation buses that everybody takes here in Sweden all alone. Like it's not uncommon for like elementary school aged kids to be riding a public transportation bus on their own. And that's really like not something you would see a lot in America. I mean, I'm sure it happens, but it's not very common. Here, I think it's much more commonplace. While we're talking about nature, I think there's one thing that's really, really cool here in Sweden that I've never talked about on the channel before, and that is allemansrätt, which basically is a law that says that people in Sweden have the right to roam around and wander, and basically what they can do is they can swim in any lake in Sweden, they can camp in the forest, even if somebody owns that land technically, as long as the people in Sweden are respectful and they treat the environment in a really good way, they're allowed to go camp in nature, go swimming in lakes and all those types of things. Whereas in America, if something is private property, you're not allowed to be there, basically. Even if it's a forest, and somebody owns that forest, then you may not be allowed to actually be there. So that is a difference as well between America and Sweden. Of course, there are limitations to this law, like you can't just go camp in somebody's backyard. There are some limitations and things like that, but in general, that law is in place so that Swedes have the opportunity to enjoy all the beautiful nature that is around them. So with that being said, guys, I'm gonna wrap this Swedish Sunday video up. I hope you got something out of it today. And again, don't forget to leave some comments down below so I have some cool things to talk about for you guys in future videos, whether it's a question or just fun things that you want me to talk about. And so with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.